Hello, world. This is the Fellaz Sports Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Trey.
And I'm Nappy.
Let's get into it. Now,
Before we go anywhere, I
okay,
just want to say
let me hear something.
that crazy shout out to the Utah Jazz. I know,
Yes,
pretty sure you saw, and the rest of the world saw that they were in a pretty scary incident with their plane and the birds,
big facts, big
and they
facts,
all made it and landed safely.
big facts. No,
Shout out
definitely,
to that.
man.
That's
Luckily,
crazy,
it would have
man.
been a horrible thing to hear. So definitely, shout out to them, man. Luckily, everyone's safe.
Yeah.
Now, I just wanted to ask you, get your opinion.
What's
I'm
up?
sure you probably heard of the Kevin Durant, Michael Rapaport issue.
Fun
Um,
fact, I only read about it today. I just
okay.
don't know what he said. So if you can enlighten me
Okay.
to a
No
certain
problem. No
extent,
problem.
because
Well,
already just based on the storyline, I'm
yeah.
like, listen, I'm kind of waiting to hear exactly what was said because I feel like the NBA has to be very smart on what they do, but I need to hear what they said first.
Okay.
What happened?
All right. So they were going back and forth private DM, like private messaging. Now, let me just clear this up. None of this is going to be verbatim. This is just me breaking down, for the most part, what the scenario was. So
Mhm.
nothing's legit, 100%. But long story short, going back and forth. Next thing they started, I guess cracking, going whatever. But what's the name's like, yo, meet me on the corner of this. I'm gonna beat you up. That's what Durant said to Michael Rapaport. Meet me on the corner of this. I'll beat you up, and then basically called him a homophobic slur, as well as pretty much said that his wife doesn't respect him, and just a bunch of stuff. Long story short, then Michael Rapaport thought, at least this is from what I've heard, Michael Rapaport said to other people, that he thought once he brought up his wife, he went too far, and also threatening to beat him up. So he put out their conversation for the world to see, and that's pretty much it. Now it's being investigated by the league to see what steps they should take. Kevin Durant apologized since then, but what he said generally is like that's how him and Michael Rapport talk. So he might have went too far, so he apologizes. And what Michael Rappaport at least said is that that's not true. They don't talk like that. So a lot of back and forth, but that's pretty much the gist of it.
So there's a
Um,
lot of he said going on, and
except for,
nobody's saying.
except for the fact of what came out in the private messaging.
Mm.
So what's your feeling on that?
Well, based on this quick rough draft sketch of what you told me,
Yeah,
I think regardless, the NBA has to discipline Durant
yeah,
because it was put out there for everyone to see. To
definitely.
what extent, I don't know because I don't. Regardless of what the slur was, it's still a slur.
Yeah,
Can't be using it. Don't care who you are in the NBA.
yeah,
He's got to be reprimanded for it.
yeah.
There's no place for it. You know,
Okay.
that's the sports fan view of it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let the street side get into it. We'll stick to the sports side of it, and I
Okay.
think the NBA has to step in and yes, Durant apologized,
Mm.
even from what I said there,
Yeah.
from what I read there. Sorry, but you know, again, he has to understand he himself that even though it's a private message between him and the next person,
Yeah.
people will do whatever they want. And
100%.
like you said, Michael Rapport said that once he brought his wife into it, he crossed the line. So he put it out there for everyone to see. You
Okay.
got to come to expect that he might not even had to have crossed the line for Michael or anybody to have done that. So you have to be
Definitely.
careful when you're especially in a position like an athlete, a known athlete, an athlete who's out there to you got to watch what you say to anybody you talk to because people love to use that as a weapon. It's a weapon
Yeah.
to destroy people. And I'm not saying that Michael's out here to destroy Kevin Durant and
Yeah.
whatnot, but it's still a shot in
Yeah.
that direction. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what you don't want, especially
No,
if that's
exactly.
not really or truly your character. Again, once I said that's how they talk, and the other says that that's not how we talk, we don't really know what the truth is. Like, you know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
So regardless, if I'm having a conversation with you and this and the third, and yeah, we might be boys, and even with this and the third, there's still certain things you got to be careful what you say because you
Yeah,
never know. I might just be that vindictive, quote unquote friend. Like, you know what? I don't like what you said, Trey. I'm gonna let
mm,
the world know how you talk to me.
exactly. No, no, definitely. See, I agree. I agree with literally legit everything you said.
Like I said, we met. He was cordial, and I hadn't seen him since. But it was definitely cool. But I don't consider him a friend. The way he was talking to me is not like a person who was a friend. I don't speak to friends like that. I don't banter with friends, telling them, "Yo, when I see you, I'm gonna spit in your face." Ha ha ha. Oh, cool. When you spit in my face, I'm gonna swish it around and spit in your face. That's not the way I banter. That's not the way I bullshit. That's not the way, that's not locker room talk. Those are threats. They were made over and over and over. It's been going on for months. And on Tuesday of this week, he caught me on a bad day.
But since you want to stay on the basketball tip, I'm gonna go on the street side of the tip. Yo, Michael Rapaport is a sucker, bro. Like
Okay,
that was
thank
that
you.
that
Okay.
hardcore, man. I'm sorry, but no, I'm not feeling it at all. I agree that Kevin Durant was wrong. Like I don't think anyone's gonna say he's right or wrong. No, he was wrong, and he definitely should apologize. There's certain wordings you should not use. He should be smarter than that. I agree, 100% wrong. But I'm throwing that to the side and just talking about Michael Rapaport being a sucker. Bro, you
Yeah,
cannot. I watch him
all
all
the
the
time.
time, all the time. And he is one of the biggest trash talkingest, talking about don't talk about people's wives and stuff. Listen, it's not about politics at all. But I legit heard him talk about Donald Trump's wife a million times and say some wrong stuff. So it's like if that's the line, you crossed it plenty of times. And for this, no, this is too much for you though, right? I'm not cool with it. It was he and the funny thing is that everything that he claims to be against, he totally showed his colors in that one movement. Like, because he's totally against Karens,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
then like this guy, he starts drama. He's the biggest trash talker, but then someone brings the drama to you, and you're like, you know what? You went too far, and airs it out to the world, bro. Not cool at all, man.
Super soft.
Extremely soft, and it's totally against everything he claims to represent. He claims to represent the streets. He claims to understand there's certain ways you do things. I'm not saying violent at all, so I'm not even saying violent, but that is not the way he should have handled it. Whether called him, whether you something and said like, "Yo, you're gone too far." Whether you're joking or not, don't ever talk about my wife again. I think that's solid. But what do you think the public is going to do? Like, how did the public, even if he called the NBA, I would have respected it more. If he would have sent the emails to the NBA and been like, no, he's too much and I don't like it. It sounds wrong, but I would have respected it. But no, you didn't do this for because you were afraid. You did this because you wanted public attention. You wanted the people to see how Kevin Durant is and what he was saying to you, how you got under Kevin Durant's skin. That's what you wanted. And
Mhm.
and so no. Long story short, I'm sorry I'm on my rant, but I have no respect for that because you
Nah,
can't let me believe that shit.
I agree
Yeah,
130%. And like I said, I didn't want to bring it in because
yeah,
what's going on here, what we're doing, and what
yeah,
we're talking about. But yeah, that's a very soft move, man. You can't, especially
yeah.
him. We all know
Him,
Michael Rappaport is smarter than that. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
bro. That's what
and
I'm
we all
saying.
know Michael Rappaport's been in worse conversations with people.
100%. That's what I'm
And he
saying.
uses this as a situation to bring to light. Like, come on, man.
But not only bring to light, bring it to public opinion. Like he didn't bring it to somewhere that he thought would protect him, and like he was
Mhm.
really afraid. No, he brought it to us to speak about that. To try to mess with someone's career or ruin someone's career just to get your name out there more, not cool to me, man. I'm not happy with that. But again, Kevin Durant was wrong. Clear that up.
Facts,
He was definitely
facts,
wrong. Nobody's saying he's
100%.
not. But I have no respect for somebody that pushes somebody to that point. And it's not that they're afraid for their life or afraid of anything, but they just want to show people, like, hey, you see what I did? because that's to me all he did in that situation.
You're
Um,
childish.
Extremely childish. And then coming with a cop out, he spoke about my wife. He didn't say nothing disrespectful about it. He said your wife doesn't respect you. That's what he said. He didn't say nothing about his wife, bro. Like, so you're just looking for a cop out at that point. I'm sorry, man. I don't know if you heard about the JJ Redick, um, and basically David Griffin issue. JJ Redick,
He
David
angry.
Griffin. Okay, yeah. So what do you think
JJ's
about that?
angry.
Well, let me just give a backstory, and then I want to get. So what happens is JJ Redick goes to management, the Pelicans, the GM, David Griffin says like, look, I want to get traded. I want to get traded to somewhere like on the East Coast or something. My
So it
family
can be
lives
closer to home.
exactly. My family lives in Brooklyn, so I want to be somewhere on the East Coast so I could drive there on days off or do something. And they're like, you know what? No problem. We'll arrange that for you. At least from what JJ Redick says. No problem. We'll arrange that for you. The next thing you know, he gets the word that he's traded, and he's like, "Cool, where to?" And it's to the Mavericks, Dallas.
You know what I mean? Like that's not East Coast.
Exactly. So at that point, he has a bone to pick. Um, and then Stan Van Gundy, just side note, Stan Van Gundy's like, "Listen, at the end of the day, we're doing what's best for the team and the city, and nothing to do with like." I think that was just a bad move by Stan Van Gundy in itself. But even though, and now basically JJ Redick's come out and said like, yo, I would not trust that team, wouldn't trust the organization, and totally throws them under the bus. What do you think about that whole situation? Uh,
Well, I mean, I am mad at Redick. Like
mhm,
all these other players can make demands and requests, and
yeah,
for the most part get adhered to. He
mhm,
makes a similar request saying, I didn't tell you a
yeah,
specific team. I just said any teams that are part of the Northeast or on
exactly.
the East Coast,
Yeah,
I would like to go and play on that side to be closer with family. And then you come back and say, yeah, you know, we'll try to make it work for you. And then come trade day, you trade him to the West Coast. It's like,
basically.
that's
Yeah,
not nothing. I would have rather stay here at this point. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you do the complete opposite
yeah,
of what I'm requesting? Like, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
so I'm not mad at him for being mad. I
yeah,
think you're right. Stan should have just been like, meh, like you know what I mean, go about your business. But it's
exactly.
not the first time the Pelicans have been, you know, known to do stuff. Like look at AD.
Yeah,
Like you
no,
know, AD
no.
for years back in the days was asking for this, that, and the third, and one this, that, and the third, and they didn't do anything. Like you know what I mean. And
Mhm,
finally, at when AD was at his wit's end, he wanted out.
yeah,
I don't want this to happen to Zion. It may happen with Ball because we
yeah,
don't know what's going to happen. I mean, right now
exactly.
he's out. Like, you know what I mean? You got Ingram and all these guys are there. Like, who knows what the future has in store for this team if this is how they treat their players?
Yeah,
You're not going to attract other big names to come there if you're doing. I'm not gonna say JJ Redick's a little guy, but JJ Redick is known around the league. Like people, there's respect on his
a
name.
lot of
And if
respect.
you're disrespecting him this
Yeah,
way, what makes you think a big name guy is going to want to come there, regardless of who you have on your team now?
exactly. Or the
So
players that are there, what's making you think they're gonna want to actually stay?
stay,
If there's no loyalty, then you can't trust no one's word. Yeah, no, and I fully agree with everything you're saying. I thought it was extremely foolish for even Sammy to make that comment, even though it might be the truth. No one's saying it's not the truth, but it's just bad timing. We all know for the most part it's about the team and it's about the city, for sure, the organization, 100%. But you don't say that when it comes down to now these players have to look. They're not going to give it, in my opinion, 110% if you know that the team is not behind you 110%.
mm-hmm.
Even though it's naive to think that, that's what you actually have to believe to actually fully buy into something. And that alone, that statement's like, listen, we're gonna do what's best for the team. So that means that why should I have any real loyalty to you if I know at the end of the day,
You
I
got
could
none for me.
exactly I could pull a Durant and play on my last good leg to try to win a championship, and you guys will play me actually like the Celtics did Isaiah Thomas. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like I'll do my best. I'll play during my worst parts of my life, and you guys will let me play, and then you won't give me a big time contract, and you'll just make me into a journeyman after I played my heart out. And this is just another sign of that. It just sucks. And if I'm Ingram, if I'm Zion, I think Lonzo already knows it, to be honest.
Yeah,
He's
probably.
Yeah, I think he's just there. If they're gonna give him the max money, he's gonna take it. But if not, I think he's fine
He's
with it,
out.
and that's why he's playing hardball with them. Because when you respect an organization, you think they'll have your best, you're willing to come down on your number a bit. But he's like, nah, this is a business, bruh. I don't trust y'all. So,
And you
I,
can't blame him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, look at all the other players that's played for that organization and what they've been through. So he's like, listen,
exactly,
I'll stay, but this is what it's going to cost for me to stay. If you ain't putting up these
exactly.
numbers, I'm out. I don't blame him.
Exactly. So, man, it just sucks. Like, and hopefully they treat Zion and Ingram and Hart and all these other great, really good players better than they did to Redick. But that's gonna travel because again, he's well respected. So it's just a bad look. It's a real bad look for the
Super bad.
organization. A little twist from where we've been at.
Seconds left. Back to Carrington. 6 seconds left. Carrington on the drive. Carrington forces it up. No! Rebound Uconn! And with 4/10 of a second left, Williams is fouled. Carrington. Let's take another look. Yeah.
Women's basketball.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, in the Elite Eight, there was a game between, I believe, Baylor and Connecticut. Went down to the last minute. And then there was this shot a Baylor player went up for and got pretty much mollywopped, and there was no call.
So you're talking about the shot where there's like 5 hands on the one arm?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
No
with the no call.
No call, bro. And therefore ends up Connecticut's going back to the Final Four. How do you feel about that? Because we've seen it happen within NFL, we've seen it happen in hockey, we've seen it happen in baseball, with just bad reffing, no calls that determine a pivotal moment. And 100 times in basketball. So how do you feel about it? This specific situation and in general as a whole, what do you think can be done to change this?
Well, in this specific situation, it clearly proves it was a game changer.
Definitely.
Just sitting there watching as the girl's getting mauled and she's putting up a shot, and you just like, well, you missed the shot. Like, no, nobody touched you for real. Like, you go look at her arm after, she probably got slapped with scratch marks, like, you know what I mean, and want to sit there that it never happened.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a fan, but it's also frustrating as a player because anybody who's played a sport has been through some form of this situation. If it didn't happen directly to you, it happened when you were on a team and it happened to a player on your team.
Yeah.
Listen, officials are humans. They're going to make mistakes. We know that. We see it. In the heat of the moment as a player, you don't want to hear it. I was fouled, and that's the truth. Go watch the replay. Okay, so when they watch the replay, they probably saw, oh snap, we made a mistake.
Yeah.
Will they own up to it?
Yeah.
You don't know. But it's frustrating because you can never escape. It's something that we're never going to escape in any sport that we play, where the refs are going to miss a crucial call. Whether it's that pitch right on the corner that hit the strike zone to win the World Series, or to go to extra innings, like, you know what I mean? And the ump just sits there, doesn't call it, and everyone loses their mind because that would have been strike 3, game over, or now the tying run comes in, and then the team loses. Like, that moment right there was the game changer, the same way where she was taking that shot.
Yeah.
And like I said, you see the pictures, even the pictures, the freeze frame still pictures are evidence of how bad this call was blown.
Everything.
And to sit there and see that, you watched the game and you knew even when watching the game was a foul.
Exactly.
And I am thousands of miles away watching it on the TV. You were right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, they're humans. They're going to make mistakes. But in these pivotal times and in these critical moments, I always believe that this is where you need to be at your sharpest as a player, as a coach, and as a ref.
Yeah.
There's really no room for error. And
Yeah.
I believe this error obviously changes everything.
Fully agree. I fully agree. I think you said everything I would have said and was going to say. I fully agree. I was you know how many times I said I was?
That
Because
much.
I honestly I'm shocked on how bad they blew that call, bro. Like everyone even, and I might be on an island here, but everyone's freaking out about the hand and might have hit her face. But even the body, there was so, like she was
There was
draped
contact.
over her. It was, you couldn't have got one of those calls. Like it makes no sense that they actually did not call that. That's what was shocking to me. I think what they need to do, we've seen it not work in the NBA, so it might not work, but they need to have somebody from a center watching it that is going that, because you know usually it's only if the refs blow the whistle or something, then you could review it or something. But no, whether the refs blow it or not, they should have someone that has an automatic, like a buzzer or something that notifies them that something needs to be reviewed, because it was too big of a play for that not to be called. Like you ruined some, and it sucks because these are kids, you know what I mean? Like you ruin their dreams like that when it's not like it was a something where it could have been missed. It was a tic tac, something like, you know, did the person, I don't know, did the ball touch off of them or who knows? It was nothing tic tac. This was a blatant foul, bro. I cannot see how they missed that one. Honestly, with having so many refs on the court, it makes no sense. So
Not
yeah,
one blew the whistle. So it's
not
crazy.
not one, bro. And what sucks about sports too that I hate, I can't even lie about this, is that we want the loser just to suck it up. We don't want them to complain. We don't want, but it makes no sense. Like, like, do you know how frustrating it is when you know someone took something from you? Like, I, I'm just saying, I get, that's what bothers me, man. Because everyone's just like, yeah, well, their coach should have just, and it's just like, no, you know how hard you fought, and regardless, you were in a position to win. And the fact that the same call they've been calling for the last 3 quarters, they held their whistle. That is enough to drive somebody crazy. So I'm just saying.
There's that, and sometimes there's the opposite effect. The calls that weren't being called in the first half of the game gets called in the last 2 minutes, and it's like you didn't call that all game. I've been doing the same thing, and now you call it. Like you know what I mean? So it's again, it's that frustration level. As for those who play sports, will totally and will understand.
Yeah,
that frustration level is like
all you want is consistency.
I can't even explain it. Like you know what I mean? Like I can't even explain it because being in those positions, seeing it happen, and understanding players' emotions, it's like it's beyond frustrating.
No, but that's what I'm saying. All you want is consistency. Like if it's being called touch the whole game, you're gonna be upset, annoyed, but that's what it is. If nothing's being called the whole game, you're gonna be upset, but that's what it is. But if it's being called one way and in a certain moment you decide to go against that, that's when there's always gonna be an argument. So I was bothered by it. And don't get me wrong, I'm actually a Connecticut fan. Like I'm always looking for them to win. But this still bothered me just as, you know, just for competitive nature of just to be in sports. It's just, it hurt to see those girls lose like that. Yeah.
It's horrible. Beyond.
So now we're on the subject, men, Final Four. Let me hear how you feeling so far, man. How's your bracket looking?
My brackets.
Yeah, your brackets looking.
Brackets. They're well, not beyond busted, but I still got a good one. Because I still have Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Like I said from the last time, any which way I broke it down, it still came down to me Gonzaga Baylor.
Exactly.
It's the way it came down, and on 2 out of the 3 brackets, I took Gonzaga, and then 1 I went with Baylor.
Yeah.
And I still have to give mad respect and shout out to Oral Roberts, weird name of a school.
Shout about them.
because that
Yeah.
was a hell of a game.
Yeah.
They put
Yeah.
up a
Yeah.
fight right to the end, and
I
kudos
agree.
to them. These
I
last
agree.
couple of years, they've been making a name for that school. So
Yeah.
shout out to them. But I still have Gonzaga. I feel like I think at this point it's Gonzaga's to lose.
100%, bro.
That's just how
100%.
I feel. In so many ways, listen, I don't want to jinx them, so I don't really want to talk about it. But it's like
Yeah.
I don't like perfect seasons. Like I don't.
What? Why?
No, I don't, because the worst time to lose is when it counts.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Therefore, yes, I agree. I
You
agree.
understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like, like perfect example was the Steelers when they started the football season that just passed.
Mhm.
Then they go like 9-0 or 9-something-0, and then they just lost and they kept losing. It's like they had to lose at one point, but
Yeah.
sometimes losing once leads to 2, 3, 4 times. Now in this case, it's the NCAA, it's March Madness. You lose once and you're done.
Yeah.
But that's what I don't want. Like, you know what I mean? Because they're such a strong and good team that it would suck for them to lose at any point of the tournament. Like,
Mhm.
if they had lost in a game in a season and then they went through this run now, if they lose, they lose. It is what it is. But it's really, it'd be crazy for them to go perfect
Yeah. No,
from
exactly.
season straight into to the tournament. That'd be crazy. But it's just, I'm on edge because of that.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts. It drives me crazy. I hate when I hear teams are at 0 losses in the season, especially when it comes time to where it's one and done. I really,
Yeah.
I really don't like it. Like, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But again, I still got Gonzaga. I really feel they're the team to
Yeah.
win it.
No,
In my
and
opinion.
and you got a point. You got a point. I wasn't even thinking about it like that, but yeah, I think it might have been the Patriots that pretty much went all the way to the finals and then lost.
See? There you go.
But yeah, no,
Don't like that.
exactly. And I hope that's not what happens, but Gonzaga, they've been beating every team by like a minimum of double digits in I think
Yeah.
either the last like 13 games or something. Dude, they're balling out of control, man. Again, Jalen Suggs, that's my guy. He's gonna be a top draft pick. I want them. I want to see an undefeated season end with a championship. That's honestly what I want to see. It might not happen, but realistically, on top of my bracket, I definitely had Gonzaga, but I realistically did not think they were gonna even make it even this far. I expected them to lose. That's what usually happens. Amazing season, and then they get upset in like the second round. So I was pretty
And the
happy
deeper
about
it
that.
goes, the more frustrating it gets. It's just like, come on, you guys. Like,
Yeah.
they might start off the game and be down 2-0. I'm like, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. I'm done. I'm finished. It's over.
Yeah,
They're down
yeah.
2-0. They can't come back from this. Like, you know what I mean? It's like 40 seconds into the game. I give up already.
Can't do it. A lot of stress. It's a lot of added stress. And Baylor's looking nice too. UCLA, I was shocked.
But I'm
11
never
seed.
truly shocked though with UCLA, because it's really like they've always been like a team to beat. Like if
No,
you're playing against
100%.
them, you want to beat them.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's another thing too, that you look at the seeding 11. It's not really true of what they are. Like, it's just the way the season played out. They had a couple
Exactly.
games, but they're a strong team. So it's like you
I
can't
agree.
underestimate them. Like, you know what I mean? They're gonna come out fighting.
You're
Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
See, you're right. You're right. It's just like you said though. They had a couple of games where they've lost this year, and then their ranking it gives you a different perspective. Like you don't expect much from an 11th seed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At most, maybe to Sweet 16. Yeah. And so they're playing real good right now. It's shocking. But no, it's gonna be good, man. I cannot wait. All I know is it'll be dope if it's Baylor and Gonzaga in the finals. Then I'm gonna be like, dang, this is serious.
That's gonna be, if it gets to that point, I think that's gonna be, always fingers crossed that it's gonna be one of the better ones we've seen in a while in terms of the championship games.
Yeah. I don't know. Fully agree. That's gonna be a dope watch right there. So back to the NBA. Brooklyn Nets.
So I was laughing, right? Because they played tonight, right? And they
Yeah.
won. So I was looking at the stats. And the reason why I was laughing is because when you look at their stats, not so much the numbers that they put up, but when you look at their roster, I should say, not so much the stats. I looked at who didn't play.
Okay.
Now they beat Charlotte tonight. Charlotte nobody really did anything for them. So
yeah,
let's not look at that. But I was looking at who was on the bench. And then I see DNPs next to the following names did not play. DeAndre Jordan, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Blake Griffin.
Yep.
Then there's Spencer Dinwiddie. But he might be out longer than all of them with the injury he currently has. But just seeing those 4 names were on the bench and didn't play.
Yeah.
And you're like, how is that even quote unquote fair? Like, just based on the names, forget how they're playing. You see a roster that has those 4 guys plus LaMarcus Aldridge plus Kyrie Irving.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you're supposed to be like, wow, that's an easy win.
No such thing. No such thing.
It's nuts.
It's
dope.
Nuts.
And I'm not even. And we haven't even mentioned Harris. We haven't mentioned Brown. We haven't mentioned Shinnie. We haven't mentioned anybody else. I'm just saying, when you see a roster with just those names, that's 6 guys right there.
Yeah. No.
And then you have a bench that can actually do good work and provide for you for like maintain minutes while the starters are on the bench. Like this has legitimately become serious now. This is not like the Brooklyn Nets of old. Like, this is
not at all, bro. Not at all.
I was having conversation with other people at work this week, saying that they're buying a championship. And I said, you know what? In so many ways, yes, but at the same time, it was done politically correct.
Exactly.
They picked up guys who were bought out for the minimum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They said, listen, this is my offer. This is what we have for you. Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And these guys aren't going to pass up a chance at looking at how the roster, who was already on the roster, to go and play and potentially become, a contending team to actually become the contenders and possible NBA champions. You know, a guy like Aldridge isn't going to pass it up.
Yeah.
And even though he hasn't played in X number of games, I've seen the highlights of how he even played tonight. And if he continues like this, LaMarcus Aldridge can come back not to his old self, but he can be a shell that's very powerful on Brooklyn's team. Like, that's a solidified center now.
100%. No, and go ahead.
What other team now at this point, imagine they're all healthy. What other team, honestly, let's be real, what other team right now can keep up with those 6 guys and their bench can keep up with a healthy Brooklyn Nets who are meshing?
Yeah. No, I fully agree. The thing is I just want to get back to a point that you made. I don't think that they're buying championships due to the fact that, and even though I know you agree that you don't think so, but kind of do, but it's politically correct. And which I agree with that point, that it is. As far as these are a bunch of guys that, other than the 3 main stars, Aldridge and Griffin, that the league has given up on, that pretty much called them has-beens. Like, remember, they were dogging Blake Griffin, said he hasn't dunked in 2 years. And then, like Blake Griffin said, he's like, yo, everybody was hating on me and Aldridge, saying we were nothing and nobodies, and then we go to the Nets and now we're a super team. he's like it makes no sense. So it's like, I get it, but it doesn't. All I'm saying is, it's a lot easier for Aldridge and Griffin to be on the team where all they have to do is get 10 points. Like, they can get that in their sleep. All they have to do is get 8 rebounds, and they might not even have to score. That's like a dream come true to any talented basketball player. So right now they're going to be, like you said, I can't see any other team contending, even though, well, we're going to get into that in a second. There is one team that I think did a nice pickup that they might be able to pull something off. But as far as them, they have they're not asking Blake Griffin to score 30, in which he possibly can on any given night. They're not asking Aldridge to score 30, but he possibly can on any given night. Maybe not twice in a row, but all they need is one big game in the playoffs from Aldridge. All they need is one big game in the playoffs from Blake. Bro, that's
literally it.
That's what, dude. They have a solid team, a sick team. But I just don't want to give any credence to the thought that they bought a chance, like, because these are still players that the league gave up on. Like,
No, for
let's
sure,
not forget
100%.
that, you know. So I don't blame them for going and taking an opportunity to go to a team that will respect their game. You know, that's what it comes down to. The Nets, regardless of what you think, they're gonna let these guys dominate whatever position they want them to dominate. So, like I said, if it's going to be rebounding, I guarantee you they're going to be like, listen, you don't have to score 1 point, but you're going to be treated like a king as long as you grab 12 boards. And they built a solid team, and they didn't only do it from buying. You know, that's all I'm saying. They actually recruited the best available players, which a lot of other teams should have done. So yeah, now back to your second question, which other team possibly can be competition or contending
Well, we
against
all
them?
know it's the Lakers.
Exactly,
Let's not kid
exactly.
ourselves. We all know it's the Lakers,
So,
especially now that they added Drummond.
that's what I was about to say. So
You
how
know
you
what I
feel
mean? It's
about
like
that? How you
which
feel that they're looking?
which again sucks because he plays one game and then now he's got was a stubbed up toe. Like, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
damn. But that aside, listen. Hopefully, speedy recovery. He's only out
Exactly.
for 1 or 2 games.
Mhm.
When you look at that team now and the way that team is built, you got a healthy LeBron, you got a healthy AD,
Yeah,
and you got a healthy Drummond.
yeah,
Not to mention a healthy Kuzma because he's out too.
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
You have a team, the only other team I feel that can go toe to toe
yeah,
with the Brooklyn Nets.
yeah. I agree.
It might just be a Lakers Nets finals if everyone's healthy.
And
And
that's the
and
thing.
I have to put the if out there because
Mhm.
we've seen what happens to teams that has stars and that is missing star players in the playoffs, what
Yeah,
can happen.
big
So
time.
if they're healthy on both sides, I feel like that's what we're looking at
Yeah.
as the NBA finals.
No, no, I
But
fully
it's
agree.
just nuts. Like you look at that roster too, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like
Yeah, it
like
was a
right
great.
now
Go ahead. Sorry.
they're struggling
Mhm.
because the stars aren't there, but it's not like they're struggling and getting blown out or beat up. They're just struggling
Yeah,
because the guys who would take, all right, cool, I'm taking over LeBron
yeah,
or I'm taking over AD. Like they're just not there to give that extra
exactly.
5, 10, 15, 20 points. That would have been the difference in terms of winning. They might have dropped 30, but those 5, 10, 15 points would have been important at that time, right?
Yeah,
So they're not there for it. But when they get back in the swing of it, and then they get accustomed to playing with Drummond,
mhm,
I
exactly.
I just I just don't see it.
No, no, I
I have a
fully
hard
agree.
time imagining any other team right now, especially the way these two teams are built. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
no, no, I fully agree. I fully agree with that. And the same thing we're saying about Blake Griffin and Aldridge is the same thing going to happen with Drummond, I believe. Once those guys come, it's going to make his job that much easier. They're going to just ask him, just rebound. You know what I mean? Be a
I don't
presence.
even think they need to ask. I think he's just going to rebound. That's what
E-
he does. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Just be a presence. If we want you, if we have a mismatch, take advantage of it. If not, just be a body, play some defense, and yeah. So it's a perfect situation again for a solid team. I think that I can see them too as long as they're both injury free, healthy. I can see definitely them two being in in the finals and championship. I honestly everything on paper would still lean towards the Nets, but I wouldn't put it past Braun. And I'm not a Braun fan like that, but I can definitely see the basketball gods being with him. And yeah, them finding a way to beat the Nets. Uh,
Again, like I
yeah,
said last time, I'll say it again. Kevin Garnett said it the best. Anything is possible.
big facts, big facts. But no,
And then, we're not around the subject of all these signings and
mm,
buyouts. Um, Boogie,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
possibly
yeah,
to
yeah,
the
yeah,
Clippers.
yeah. I think that would
Do
be
you
good.
think that if he does sign with them
Mhm.
and he does play,
Yeah,
he can help them become a challenge? Not necessarily they're going to win, but help them actually become a challenge to to the teams in the West, i.e., the Lakers? Like, do you think he, and his current way he plays now, given that he's not the Boogie of old, but we've seen flashes when he starts getting into shape, what he can still do? Do you think he will legitimately be beneficial to the Clippers?
I actually, that's a good question. I actually do think that he can be. The key is health again. But secondly, it has to be not like what Golden State did with him. They actually have to play him into shape. Give him some playing time. Don't just reserve him and then expect to put him out there and hope that he needs to, he's the type of player that struggles with weight and being in shape. So he needs that running time. He needs that game time. So even though they'll, in the beginning, if they do get him, they'll lose quite a few games because he's not going to be the same. But by the time playoffs come, I think that even though he's not, I don't think he'll ever be the same Boogie. I think that he'll still be quite, he'll help them because there's certain things he has. His skill level has always been one of the top in the NBA.
For sure, especially for a big man.
Exactly. What he doesn't have in speed, he has in body. So again, I think he would definitely be problems for any other big man, but his main problems are injury and endurance, I find. If they could actually get him back in shape and have him even at an 80%, he'll still be a formidable opponent for any any team and against any big man. How do you feel?
I feel that, like you just said, if he can get into shape and get into shape relatively quick, because let's be honest, we're April. I think the way the season's wrapping up, there's maybe like 2 months left.
Exactly, something like that.
There's really not enough time for him to take his time to get back into shape if they want to see a major turnaround in overall team performance to start climbing back up that ladder to be in legitimate talks. Could they take down the Lakers? Because that's really where you want to get to. You want to get to a point where analysts and other teams are like, well, if anybody could do it in the West Coast, it could be them. Boogie's got to be in shape for them to be able to have that kind of conversation about the Clippers.
Yeah.
Again, we know Boogie from back in the days. Boogie is a beast.
100%.
Injuries, and like any other player, it affects them. And the more they get, it's like the slower their rehab, the slower everything becomes for them. So if you can make sure that you take care of him, put him on that right regimen, get him into shape. And like you said, don't give him scrap time, give him actual playing time. Exactly. Give him consistent playing time so that, let's say the first 3 games he plays, he gets 14 minutes scattered throughout the game. And as games go on, or as situations call, you increase your minutes because you want to get him to a point where he's used more often than not.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't use him often than not. It's like just having another player on the team who barely plays, who can and wants to contribute, but you don't give them the playing time to contribute. Exactly. And you don't want that with Boogie. You give Boogie that playing time, and especially if he can stay healthy, I think he could make a decent impact, enough to have people start like, listen, they've got Kawhi, they've got Paul, now they got Boogie playing good. Like, oh snap, they're all healthy. Like, okay, well, let's get serious now too. Like, you know what I mean? And they can't buy out any other guys. All the guys either went to the Lakers or the Nets.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, that's how I feel about that. I feel that if he can be shown the respect in terms of getting him into that shape, I think he can definitely be an impact on that team.
No, I agree. I fully agree, man. But I actually want him to succeed, man. I feel bad for him.
For sure. Listen, there's a lot of guys in the NBA that if they made moves like joining powerhouses at this point in their career, I truly would not be mad. Exactly. I really don't care if, like let's say, for example, the Lakers re-signed him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad. And the Lakers end up winning. I wouldn't be mad. I'd be happy for Boogie.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like back in the days when Boston did that whole big 3.
Yeah.
I wasn't mad at Garnett. The
No.
man put in his work in Minnesota. Like, you know what I mean?
Same thing with Ray Allen.
I
Like all
wasn't
those
mad at Ray
guys.
Allen.
Exactly.
The man put in his work. Like, listen,
Yeah.
these guys aren't out together, and they are at the later stages and won a
Exactly.
championship. Kudos for them. I'm not
Yeah.
a Boston Celtics fan in sense that that's just not my team. I have nothing against us. It's just not my
Yeah.
team. They won. Kudos. Happy for you guys. Happy for them. You know,
Yeah.
those guys put in the work, and I guess that's the old head mentality I have. Like, you know what I mean? You'll put in that work, son. Get your seniority up, and then when
Yeah.
all that seniority's up, and you still haven't gotten that position you wanted, and now
Yeah.
you want to make them moves to get to that point because you're fitting to retire in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Go and do what you got to do. That's just how I am.
It makes
Not
sense.
everybody sees it that way. Some people are like, listen, I got to get it now or never. But
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm still that old head. Put in that work, man.
I fully agree. I fully agree. Especially if you're able to contribute. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like Matt Barnes says it all the time. Like he won the championship, but he didn't really feel like he won it because he was on the bench. But so it's like I get it. Like with these guys, like again, Ray Allen, Garnett, and that's why even if Boogie went to LA, if they were to just give him some playing time, you know what I mean? Not even crazy. Then I feel it's nice for people to get rings, but I also I want them to feel also that they deserved it. You know, they had a part in it regardless. So no, that's it's dope, man. I think this might be one of the better championships in a while. If it does end up being the Lakers and the Nets.
If it goes down the way on paper it should,
Yeah.
then yes.
Yeah.
I think it could be. I'm obviously going to root for Brooklyn because I just can't root because I'm not a fan of LeBron's like yours. I just can't root for him. Yes, there's players on the team that I would be happy for, like I am with any other teams.
Yeah.
But I would be, I'd be rooting in that situation for Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That's just me. People are gonna hate. Don't really care.
No,
it is what it is. But
I'd be rooting for Brooklyn mainly because I like more players on the team. Like they have other than, and it's not that I don't like Harden. I prefer Harden in Oklahoma City, and I like Harden in Brooklyn. I really didn't like him in his stint in Houston. Like I didn't like his style of play. So
that was selfish style of play, though.
Exactly.
Super selfish.
So pretty much their whole team, I'm a fan of. So and plus we got Nash as your coach, bro.
You know what I mean?
Hey man, you know what I mean? You can't go wrong, man. I gotta root for them.
The South African Canadian, you know what I mean? I gotta root for him.
Exactly.
Remember one of our the first episode we talked about absurd contracts.
Yes.
There is another absurd contract in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Again, kudos to him. I can't knock him.
Yeah.
But these contracts are they're insane, man. They're just
dude.
You sign a 10-year, what is it, $341 million contract.
Yeah.
And over the course of the 11 years you're with the team, it's $362 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want $10,000.
No, okay. I feel you.
Somebody give me, listen, I play amateur ball. Instead of me paying to play, somebody say, hey, Ned, listen, we'll give you $250. I'm going to take it. These guys are getting, I'm going to take it.
Of course. That's why I'm saying, of course. I'm like, yeah, if it beats paying. Like.
Right? But $341 million over 10 years.
Yeah.
Hey, that's ridiculous amount of money.
It is.
And again, kudos to him because he's young. So this is going to take him through his core and into his prime.
Yeah.
But still, 300. Dang, like,
dude, get your money, young man. Get your money. I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it. But like I said to everybody, signing long-term contracts are great for stability for right now. But if the numbers go up, you're still stuck in that contract. Keep that in mind. So I'm just saying, on his 7th year, if players are getting $100 million a year, he's still at that same amount. So I'm just saying, it sounds good, but we've seen it happen throughout time where players sign big contracts for their time, but for a crazy amount of time. Because again, 10 years is a
That's a lot.
decade. It's a long time,
That's
bro.
that's 1,600 baseball games right there.
Exactly. And you are going to be with that same franchise. And the reason,
Win or lose.
win or lose, and one of the main reasons why they sign these players to these contracts is because just in case they get a new television contract or you get something new and they a lot more money, you're not you don't get a piece of that pie, and they have your talent for however many years left. So it's I wouldn't tell nobody not to do it,
See,
but
but I kind of would though. I get it. The appeal of signing for 10. Like
yeah,
if you break it down, it's like, oh, it's $34 million a year, which it really isn't. It's a build up to that amount. But it's
yeah,
like, why not think you can get a 5-year contract and get $160 million for right now,
yeah,
because this is your value for right now. And on that 4th year, you can
yeah,
look at an extension at that point to see, like, listen, you know what? Actually, we made more money. Like you said, a major television deal comes up. Let's bump another 5 years, and now let's turn that to
exactly,
225 over the next 5. If you know what I
exactly,
mean. So you look at what
exactly,
you would have made over the 10 years if you actually stay the full 10.
yeah,
Or listen, you can leave after your 5th year and go somewhere else and still get $300 million again, based on
exactly,
how that contract is. How the market is
yeah,
feeling. That's the plus side. Okay, so
yeah,
let's play devil's advocate and say, well, you know what? They took it for this amount because
mm,
you never know. Let's just say I take a 5-year deal and do make that 160, but there's no contract, and we had a rough economy. The
yeah,
baseball's not doing so good, and now the most they can give me over the next 5 years is 80 million. I
yeah,
lost money. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I get that side of it too, but
yeah,
listen, we've been for watching sports for all these years, and contracts aren't shrinking. No
exactly,
matter what sports you play,
yeah,
contracts aren't shrinking,
exactly,
especially with the way technology is rolling out. There's money in the markets for whatever sport you play, for
exactly,
these leagues, professional leagues, to pay
yeah,
their athletes. The revenue
100%,
is coming in.
yeah,
So, I would be more in favor of taking 5, 6 year deals
hmm,
versus taking 10. Again, when you look at it, shoot, 10 mil, $340 million. We paid
hmm,
for life.
yeah,
We know there's stipulations and whatnot in the contract.
exactly,
There
and
might actually be
taxes and all
exactly.
that,
We know there might be a certain amount that's guaranteed. He
yeah,
might have signed it saying, like, "Listen, I'll sign it for 10 years, but I want 100 million guaranteed."
exactly,
Smart move, like, you
yeah,
know what I mean. You got to put that in there.
yeah.
But even at that, I would have, again, I'm
No,
not in
I
their shoe,
agree.
and I'm not an
Yeah,
agent.
yeah,
We don't know the true business end of it, but
yeah,
if I look at it from a point of view of the market always growing, a 10-year
exactly,
deal kind of seems a lot excessive, when if you take a shorter deal, you could probably make more in 2 5-year deals than you
ex-
will in that one 10-year. It's
exactly.
just the way,
No, I think the
I
same
see
way.
it.
I fully agree, but all I'm saying is I can't knock somebody, or I wouldn't tell
Bro,
somebody don't
oh,
get that financial stability,
bro,
So
if someone
do
came to you today and said, "Hey, Trey, we want to sign you to a TV deal for the next 10 years at $341 million," of course I'm gonna tell you to take it.
somebody get me a pen. Somebody. No, 110%. So no,
You know
and
what I
that's
mean?
why. But again, knowing better, doing better, it still would be smart to take smaller deals and move on. But again, don't knock it. I still because
Definitely
think
don't
about
knock
it.
it.
When you're in a place of power or leverage, you do better. Like Jordan, his last like 4 years, 3 years, he kept doing 1 year deals, but
Hmm.
getting max deals. So it was like he was getting paid 35 million each year. But and which his first deal was like less than that for like 7 years. So the whole point is when you know better, when you're in a place to, you do it. So I don't knock him, but it's not necessarily the smartest decision to have that type of a contract where again it's for a decade and a lot of things change in a decade. So
But I was still shocked when I saw that. I was like, "How did I lose this again?"
I'm
And
just
don't
saying,
don't be surprised in the next. Listen, the season started today. Shout out to the
mm,
Jays for extra innings win.
that's what's up. That's what's up.
But don't be surprised throughout the course of the year. You don't hear about any more extensions that are going to come up that are going to be in these
Big
crazy
time.
numbers. 'Cause
Big time. But all I'm trying to say is it's gonna suck when he's in his prime and he sees that other players that are signing their first contracts in their prime getting 800
400
million or
exactly.
400 million for 7 years, and he's like, golly, you know. So I'm just saying, and he's the best player in baseball. So and
Yeah,
it's one of those things, man. But financial
it's nuts.
security, man, that's what it is.
But I will say this: I'm happy that baseball is back. Although I'm not playing yet,
Yeah,
watching professional ball with fans, although
yeah,
not at full capacity. I think New York had 20%.
yeah.
Was the maximum amount. It was actually good to see a sport where the number of people still made a difference because at 20% you notice the fans, like
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
so it's not
yeah,
like 20% in an NBA arena. We're not talking the same capacity of people. There's
yeah,
20% of a baseball game. There was still a good amount of people. It still brought some kind of an ambiance to the game,
yeah,
and watching it, it was fun. It was good. It got me antsy. It got me like, yo, let me go get my glove right now and start throwing
yeah.
the baseball against the wall. Definitely make some holes, but hey, nothing a little plaster and paint can't fix, right?
Exactly, exactly.
So
No, it's definitely good to have some sort of normalcy going on, man. Hopefully, man, I just can't wait to go see games in general, any sport. So,
I'm gonna
yeah,
hold you to that. Y'all heard
hey,
this. Y'all heard this interwebs. I'm gonna hold him to that. Whenever
yeah,
I got
yeah.
my amateur baseball games, I'm like, yo, Trey,
No,
got a
no, no,
game.
no. I meant like
No, no, that's
professional.
not
I
what
was
you just
talking
said. No, that's not
about.
what you
I'm
said.
sorry.
You said any games,
No, I'm sorry.
anytime. Listen, this is
Yeah.
all. I'm, listen,
Yeah.
y'all write your comments because y'all heard the same thing I heard. He's coming
Oh
to one of these games. As a
man,
matter of fact, you will bring your camera and you go film it, right? And I'm
hilarious.
gonna leave a commentary. And we'll see how many
That-
times I'm gonna strike out.
Nah, man. Yo, I've seen you play, man. You're a superstar, bruh. You're
Oh,
a
calm down.
superstar.
Calm
Hey,
down.
you're my
That's not.
superstar, okay? You're my superstar. But yeah. Anyways, man, everybody watching, feel free to leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and feel free to share as well. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about. And again, if you don't like it, leave a thumbs down. But just let us know what's going on in
But
these.
we prefer thumbs up.
Well,
Let's make it clear.
we
Let's make
definitely
it clear. We
want, but
prefer thumbs up.
hey, let
But to
us
each
know
their
how
own.
you feel. Let us know how you
Exactly.
feel. That's the thing. Once again, this is the Fellaz Sports Talk podcast. I'm your host Trey.
And I'm happy.
We in these streets.